This is Jay Worth, the encourager. Never stop believing. I'm telling you, you have to believe it. It's inside of you. It's what you feel. It's what you need. It's what you do. If you can believe it, you can achieve it. Just keep going. Press your way through. Can you believe in what you can't see? There's so much more that's going on inside of you. And the seed that's inside of you, you have to water it. Don't you believe it? If you can press, if you can believe, I assure you, you'll never stop believing. Hey, this is your host, Juanita Ward, and I am super excited to be back with you for another episode of Never Stop Believing. I'm telling you, this is the most incredible thing ever, and I am so grateful that you get the opportunity to share this with us today. I have a special guest, and I'm super excited to bring her on. Remember, these episodes are not just, for just the regular. These are for people that have purpose, that really want to really tap into it. And I'm super excited to have my guest, Chelsea. How are you, Chelsea? I'm super excited.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. I'm excited. I'm just honored to be here. I'm doing great. Any better, I couldn't stand it, as my grandpa used to say.
That is awesome. That's awesome. Man, listen, how is the weather up there?
So fickle. It was last night, the low 44 with a wind chill made it feel like 20. Walked out this morning, it felt like 70. So we're just trying to adjust with the never changing. It's a little nippy, but we're going to make it. We're going to make it.
You're right about that. Now tell the viewers where you're coming from.
Absolutely. So I'm in Tallahassee, Florida, by way of Gadsden County, Florida. I cannot leave that out, and we'll talk about that, I'm sure, when we get in this conversation.
I am super excited to have you on the show, and you have such a awesome way of really bringing the guests, really bringing your people. You do a podcast yourself, really getting believers to understand about being a servant leader, and I'm super excited about what you're doing. Chelsea and I we did a show together, and our show was on servant leaders, and
That's
I'm
right.
telling you, it was an absolute incredible opportunity doing that show, because there were so many key points in that moment and in that opportunity that allowed us to really go there, to really dig in deep. And I want our viewers to understand something. You are a servant at heart. You have something inside of you that is so great. You have something inside of you that is absolutely not the original, because you are the only copy that God has created. And I'm telling you, there is something deeper that is trying to pull on you to move out of that comfort zone. And Chelsea, I'm so grateful that I get this opportunity to share this platform with you on Never Stop Believing. So let's jump right into it, Chelsea, right? Here's the thing, right? So you were talking to me at a moment in time about, there was an opportunity where you were coaching and you thought, what am I going to do? We're 0-7. We're 7-0. What am I going to do? How am I going to get our girls to really focus in, to really buy in, to understanding that there's something greater out there, to understanding that there's something a little bit deeper inside of them? They have to dig in deep. Let's talk a little bit about your approach to getting them to understand.
It's so funny because this is like so timely. Right? When we last spoke about this was last month before the break, and we were 0-7 at the time. And as a coach and as a leader of all sorts, we all know that then there's a goal in mind to winning by many definitions, and to accomplish. And when that's not happening, that there's certain things that the enemy will have come in, right?
Ooh, come on.
And so, for myself as a servant leader, but as their head coach, the biggest thing for me is not just about winning the game on the W side of the column. It's about winning in life. And I wasn't so much as upset about us being 0-7 if we would have been giving our all in that. But it was more so the way that they were, just kind of not approaching it. And I take all of that as a head coach. I had my daughter, started the season late, came in late, couldn't give all that I normally do. But it's so amazing that you asked that now, because we actually came back off of the break, our first game back off of the break. I always think I know what I'm going to tell them as the pregame speech. I think I know. And that's the key word, right? We always have our plan. But at the end of the day, God has his own plan. And I walked back there in the locker room, and I had a mission to say one thing, And literally, I just began to give my testimony,
Wow.
which I know we're going to fall into. And I'm not trying to get you to roll off your seat early, but I told them, I said, your coach, you don't understand about your coach. Your coach has endured some health challenges. And in my health challenges, I was playing basketball. I said, and I collapsed at a game. And it's amazing as young people when we think that we have all the time in the world. You know that. We're young. We think we're invincible. We think all the time is for us. And I was playing, I played for Livingstone College in Salisbury, North Carolina. And we were playing at St. Augustine's, now university. I'm wanting an alum to come get me. They were college then, university now. And I collapsed at a game, Miss Juanita. I collapsed and didn't know what was going on. Healthy athlete, not sure what's going on. Long story short, after months of toiling with headaches and just fatigue, they found an aneurysm, a brain aneurysm in my head. Now, you and I both know when we hear people that have brain aneurysms, 9 times out of 10, they are now gone and have left this earth.
That's right. That's right.
But for a month, while doctors were trying to figure out what was wrong with me, God kept me.
Wow.
He kept me with this, as the doctor would say, time bomb ticking in my head. So long story short, we start to decide, what we're going to do. Come back down here to Florida to work out the course of action of trying to get it removed. And I'm going to tell you this, and I want you to hold on to your seat, okay? Because God is about to go ahead and show up right now in this. I am healed by his grace because when I showed up to the pre-op appointment, we had taken scans prior to the pre-op appointment. When I showed up, all the doctors in there were confused with all the degrees, all their training, because when they looked at that scan that I took at my pre-op appointment and they looked at the scan that started in 2009, they didn't see anything.
Come on now.
They didn't see anything. And so it's so amazing how sometimes we feel that certain people won't be ready for your testimony, right? I'm a person that keeps things in my business close to my vest, but I've learned that you can't just allow people to see your glory moments. They have to see those story moments. And I gave those babies that story moment, and everybody was locked in. There wasn't sucking of the teeth. They felt empowered. And when I tell you the same team that had beat us in 2021, we broke out 2022 and beat them by 30. It was signed, sealed, and delivered. Not to ever put anybody down, but they needed to be sure of their abilities and capabilities. And we have kept that thing running. So we are definitely on the move since the last time you and I talked, and the hand of God is on my babies. And that is all we've asked for, is fight and drive. And I'm thankful to be able to tell my story to them, because that wasn't a plan, but I'm thankful that God led me to share that and to ignite something new in them.
So you're saying that our scars does not really define our outcome. You're saying that our scars are testimonies to someone else's upcoming, to someone else's upbringing, to someone else's opportunity to see that there's something greater on the inside of them, to change their trajectory, because it's in that moment that we have these type of life encounters, if you will. And for you, your life encounter was an aneurysm that when the doctors found out that there was nothing there. What do you mean the supernatural took place? What do you mean this happened? What do you mean that now you don't have this aneurysm? Now you don't have this brain problem? What are you saying? And for you to give that encouraging word, for you to give that testimony, for you to give that message to those young ladies, to tell them no matter what you're going through, no matter what may be happening in your household, no matter what you may be dealing with, let me tell you something. It is never too late to change where you are. Because where you are right now does not define where you're going to be. Where you are right now is only a stepping stone to get you to the next level. And you told them something that moved something on the inside of them. That's what we're talking about. Never stop believing. Had they given up on what they thought they were, had they given up on who they thought they were, they would have never achieved this moment. They would have never made it to this opportunity. And I want to talk a little bit about that, because I think that's extremely interesting that you spoke about that testimony, your brain aneurysm. Let's go there to really, because you're right. Some people don't make it. You're right. Some people don't come back from it. But the hand of God was on your life, and signs and wonders and miracles took place, not just for you to know that God is real, but for the doctors to know that it was nothing but the grace and the miraculous miracle of Christ. So let's talk a little bit about how and what transpired in that moment.
Let me tell you, so it's so amazing how the times and gaps and how God orchestrates things, right? I want to go back just a second to, I always say those scars are beautiful to God, right? It's so amazing that when we have those physical scars, right? We played, all right, basketball. I've had surgery on my knee 5 times, so there's scars there. Other operations here and there, so there's scars there. And what do we do in the physical sense when we have
That's
a
right.
scar? We try to cover it up, right? We try to use a little concealer if there's a blemish here and there. Put some concealer on this morning, right? A couple of enemy-infused bumps, right? But we conceal those things that we don't want people to see in the physical nature. And in leadership, one of the biggest things, Miss Juanita, I've learned is that transparency is key when you're a servant leader.
Come on.
I felt that you have to show empowerment. You had to show, you couldn't show those weak and vulnerable moments in leadership. And that is where I fell short. Those are the portions I fell short. It's the moments of what you just said. In those moments when you show the scars, in those moments when you show where God showed up for you, that is when people start to understand that their same story moments can become glory moments. That is the moment where somebody may say, that happened to me too. We all remember the Me Too movement.
Come on now.
It came because somebody started talking, right? It came because somebody said and felt enough that I will put myself out there and put my story out there. And so that being said, how God orchestrates things are amazing. I will never forget it. My grandparents, I've always been close to them. My mom raised us to know them, respect them, and love them. My mom and my grandparents really gave me my foundation of who Christ was. But you said it best. It is those moments that I just explained, those testimonies that allow you to know Christ for yourself.
Come on.
And in that moment when I found, the same moment when they found the aneurysm, my grandmother was transitioning. And I will never forget, if you've ever watched someone transition, they are literally finding their peace to leave this earth and go to glory, right? And she wasn't talking as much. And I'll never forget, I went to see her before I went to pre-op. And she looked at me and she said, baby, you're going to be just fine. I don't even know why you worried. You're going to be just fine.
Come on now.
And in that moment, I'm like, okay, grandma, that's what grandparents do. They keep you encouraged. And get into that doctor's office and that same thing happened. I saw the hand of God. But what was most important, there were 3 doctors, Miss Juanita, 3. It took one to start. When they saw nothing was there,
number
they
3.
went to get 2, right? And then the third one came in. Now, I'm not sure how many more they would have went and gotten, right? But I said, look, y'all are scaring me because it started 1, now we have 3. Can someone tell me what's going on? And that's when they said, well, Miss Johnson, we're looking at these scans all the way from 2009 to down your timeline. And then we looked at the one that we had you take for pre-op and we don't see anything. And in that moment, their next step was to say, so now what we want you to do, which was now another medical test. I said, absolutely not. What I need you to understand is I'm not disrespecting anything that you learned in your books or anything that you learned in your profession, but I know what has happened.
Come on
God
now.
has healed me.
Come on.
God has healed me.
Come on.
He's done what I've asked. And the word tells us by his stripes, we're already
Come
healed.
on now.
We just have to claim that healing. And I think that's the biggest thing. We say that we have faith, but what good is faith? I tell my kids all the time, would you work every week if they give you your check, not cash it? What good is the check if we don't cash it?
This is good.
And so that faith, that same faith that we talk about, it says the size of a mustard seed. And I asked my young ladies, have you ever seen a mustard seed? Some of them said yes, majority of them said no, and I showed it to them. And I don't think most people actually have seen a mustard seed before, Miss Juanita.
That's right.
And they look at it, the thing, you might miss it on your hand.
That's right.
That's all Christ asked for. And in that moment, I had that faith. And I told that doctor that. I said, you can run whatever test you want to, but you'll be wasting your time. I know what happened here. God has healed me. I'm not sure what you all believe in, but God promised me this. I prayed that prayer when they gave me the diagnosis. And he didn't say when. Like the old song said, it may not come when you want it,
but he'll show up right on time.
Okay?
Come on.
So it wasn't, he never told me when, but he told me that he will. And in that moment, he did. And so I know in that moment there, maybe not all of them, but one for sure had a praise on the inside that came on the outside with me. And it was just amazing to see people that believe in medicine, believe in Christ in that moment. They don't know me from a can of paint, but were able to meet me at my point of appreciation and my point of just giving my praise back. And he believed that thing. A doctor that can open up heads, a doctor that's world renowned, believed that Christ had did a thing. And that, when you talk about never stop believing, that's the main point right there. Go.
You know what, Chelsea? You talk. I can't get it out. You talked about faith of a mustard seed. And I'm telling you, I am so excited because even when people don't understand how, God shows them when, where, what. God shows them why. Even when people can't even put their mouth on what happened, God does the supernatural, and he does it multiple times over and over and over. And you talked about that little faith of mustard seed. And when we come back after the break, I am definitely going to talk about that little faith of mustard seed, because yes, it is small. And I promise you, you may miss it if you really don't believe. This show is brought to you and sponsored by earthblendcoffee.global. To order, click in the link box below. It is just that good. We'll be right back after the break.
Footprint Farms is a beautiful 68-acre vegetable and cattle farm located in Jackson, Mississippi, and is Mississippi's largest urban farm. The mission of Footprint Farms is to provide the community access to healthy food choices, introduce our youth to agriculture, and provide training and technical assistance to small farmers and ranchers. The farm is open to the public every Friday from 2:30 to 5:30 p.m. to purchase fresh produce, or visit us at the Mississippi Farmers Market located near the fairgrounds in February. We accept all forms of payment, including EBT and SNAP benefits. Looking for a beautiful venue for your next wedding, family reunion, or dinner? Footprint Farms offers a 3,000 square foot facility on 5 beautiful acres, perfect for your next event. For more information, visit our website at footprintfarms.com, Facebook and Instagram at Footprint Farms, or call us at 601-910-5534. Footprint Farms, farm fresh, city sweet.
Advertise on WeBelieve.global, a brand new digital media platform. Share your brand with our audience on our many global live stream TV broadcasts and over the radio. For more info, visit WeBelieve.global or call 800-492-5186, option 1.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Right before the break, we were talking about faith of a mustard seed. I'm telling you, you want to get plugged in because it is just that good. It's that faith of a mustard seed that moves mountain. That faith of a mustard seed really moved so much that was going on. It even moved the doctors to believing that, oh my gosh, they had seen something supernatural. How many times do we really see the supernatural? How many times do we really see something such as an aneurysm? An aneurysm. Are you serious? An aneurysm not seen on the x-ray. It took not one, not two, but it took three doctors to come in and say, what in the world is this? Chelsea is sitting there going, wait a minute, you guys, wait, hold up. Yeah, what you see is correct. See, what's going on here is you have to speak what you believe. Words are so powerful. You got to believe what you say. You have to speak what you say. Proverbs 18:21 says, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those that love it shall eat its fruit. God has already positioned us to be in a situation, in a position to be successful, to be great, because he knows his business better than anybody knows his business. Do you hear what I'm saying? And we're talking about this faith. This seed is so small. It's so small. And you'll miss it if you're really not looking. And Chelsea was saying that they almost missed the miracle trying to look further into what they thought something was there. See, they saw the evidence that something was there. And it was presented for them to see that something was there. But it was also presented for them to see that it was supernaturally taken away by God's grace and mercy. Here's the thing. When you get a report, which report do you believe?
You believe.
Do you believe the report that says this, or do you believe the report that says you were healed by the stripes of the blood of Jesus? Do you believe that God can do the exceedingly? And we're talking about never stop believing. You have to believe in something greater than what you can see, because there's always a message behind the message. There's always faith behind fear. There's always belief behind doubt. And whatever you believe, you have to have faith in it. And Chelsea knew that she was healed. Chelsea knew that she had belief in the God that healeth thee. Yeah, they call him Jehovah Rapha. You understand what I'm saying? Chelsea had faith that God could do what he said he could do. And that's life, right? That's life. Sometimes we go astray because life happens. Sometimes we encounter things because we stop believing. I put out a book that says, I will succeed. And it's 15 principles that will get you to believing, that will get you to seeing something deeper. And not only did this testimony become a test at the time, it brought her before so many great people so that she could share the good news. And most importantly, it brought her into coaching, to coaching where she could tell her players, tell these young ladies, listen, you got something on the inside of you. Don't stop believing. You got something that's greater. Don't stop believing. Now, Chelsea, let's go into the coaching part.
Can I just say one more thing to that?
Yes, please.
See, one of the things about the population that I reach, they only go with face value, right? So they see Coach every day, and one of the things they love to say was, "You don't understand.
Come on,
you don't get it, right?" Because Coach, I see the car you drive, and I see where you turn up for your house, and I see the clothes you wear. And what I try to tell them is this: that comes from hard work, sweetheart. But I want you to understand is what you see on face value. It doesn't look like what I've been through. And I remember when you came on my show, The Servant Leader, that's what you said. You said it's amazing how people will see the outside. You talked about your childhood home. They'll see the outside of your home, look at it all pressed and clean, but not know what's going on internally and still speak about what they don't know. And I think that we have to, in leadership, make sure that we're clear. It's not about airing out your laundry, but one of the biggest things I needed my young ladies to understand is that you have to see the whole entire me, to see where you can go, where you can become. And when I was able to be transparent, and now the same thing they say, the car, the house, the clothes, what you see me when you see at face value, you now know it came after what I went through, and that it is possible if you never stop believing.
See, we're talking about coaching here right now, okay? You're schooling. You are coaching and schooling, because now you, as Chelsea the coach, you're telling your young ladies that it's okay to have these situations. It's okay to go. Let me tell you something. Before we keep going, I gotta talk to somebody right now. I really feel this. It's okay to be open and transparent. It's okay to be authentic. Nobody is saying that you have to tell your deep, darkest secrets. But what we are saying is, let somebody else learn from what you've been through. Let somebody else have the opportunity to grow from what you've been through. See, God did not just allow those things to happen to you just so that you can keep them in for your good. The Bible says that all things work together for the good of those that love God, who are called according to his purpose. And yes, sometimes people can see the outside appearance, but they don't know that the inside was at one point crumbling down. It's like what I talked about my house. People saw the outside of the house and they said, oh, it's a beautiful thing. The family is living large. The family has it all. But they didn't understand that we were in the inside with no lights. We were there in the inside with no food. We were in the inside with nothing but each other. And when we do the things that we do, it is not for people to feel like they can say whatever they want to say to you. It is not for people to feel just because they are giving you an opportunity that they can talk to you any kind of way, that they can say whatever they want to say. It is not for that reason, because they don't know what you have been through. They may see your glory, but they don't know your story. So every single day when you get up to do what you do, they don't understand that God has made a way for this opportunity. They don't even understand that God made a way for them to see you. That's the reason why you're here. So we have to take our transparency moments. We have to take our inward moments and say, you know what? Let me help you understand why. Because the only thing that your eyes are looking at is the outward appearance. Your eyes don't know the story. Your eyes don't know what I've had to go through to get to where I am now. Only thing you see is the glam. You don't know the backstory. But let me kind of catch you up to speed and tell you a little bit of how you can make it out, of how you can change the trajectory of where you are right now. We all come into a place in our life where God is just that real. God is just that good. And we've all been at the situation of, man, I feel like giving up. I feel like throwing the towel in. And you know what? I got to be a quarterback to throw this towel in. Because I want to throw it so far that I don't want to do this anymore. But there's that one seed that says, get up, stand. Because now when you take this stand, the words that are coming out of your mouth are going to be so powerful. The words that are coming out of your mouth is going to be so delightful that every single thing you speak from this moment forward will be to glorify myself. God is who we're talking about. Chelsea, you've had moments in your life where you've never stopped believing. You've talked about your testimony of the aneurysm and how they couldn't believe. And it took 3. The Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, the resurrection. It took 3 for them to understand that you were revived.
That's it.
You're doing the same thing as coaching. You're reviving your players. You're reviving the lives of the generation. Let's talk a little bit how you're reviving their lives. Not only are you planting seeds, but you're really enlightening them to take themselves, their family to the next level. And you're also breaking off generational things as well.
That's the key piece. I teach and coach at Amos P. Godby High School in Tallahassee, Florida. And that's so near and dear to me because I'm an alumna of Amos P. Godby High School.
That's
so
awesome.
I always think about, thank you. I always think about the movie Lean on Me,
Right.
Joe Clark. It was one way, when you were a student or when you were teaching, and then when you came back, it was a different way. And so what I try to tell my young ladies, I don't want to ever sound like that auntie or that uncle that tries to relive their glory days for them because their path is their own. But what I want to do is one of the things that you just said, being able to revive and ignite those things that are in them that they're not aware of. We talk about win, but I tell people all the time, yes, I'm a competitor by nature, so I want to win the game. But we also have to make sure they're winning at life. If I lose, I will not sacrifice the player and lose the person, is what I always tell every parent at the beginning of every season. I'm not going to do that. You see it so often where, teams win, they're successful, they go the distance, win state championships. But what happens when that child is now ineligible academically? What happens when they're losing the know-how? Have they taken their SATs and ACTs? Do they have a resume? Do they know how to do an interview? Do they know how to properly speak to a person with their eyes up? Do they know how to say good morning when they walk into a room? There's these basics. And I feel that because as educators and coaches, we spend the same amount of time, if not more, with these young people than their parents or their guardians do.
That's right.
Have a same responsibility to these young people. And so it's a deeper need for my young ladies. I feel that being a woman, especially women, minority women are who I'm really reaching, the majority of the people on my roster. It's important to be able to, Brittany Ezell, she was a longtime coach, amazing, big sister of mine. She always says what they see is what they'll be. 100 Black men also say that. And I believe in that. I truly believe that. She says, if you want them to be a woman, they have to see a woman.
Come on now.
We can't tell them we need you to be X, Y, and Z if you're not walking that. So I hold that near and dear, even in the 0-7 moments. They need to see my resilience.
Okay, I got to pause you for just a second.
Go ahead.
I cannot run over that. You said if they want to be a woman, they have to see a woman. That's powerful.
I have to give her that credit for that. Yeah.
So basically what you're saying is if they want to see what a real leader look like, they have to see that real leader acting like a real leader in order to walk that pathway. You cannot say that you are somebody of this position and you don't have professionalism. You cannot say that you are somebody in this leadership and you don't walk with that type of integrity. You have to walk with that type of integrity and don't let that position run you. You have to allow that position to mold you and shape you in order to get you to the next level that you need to be. And I love what you're saying. You cannot be a leader if you are not ready to lead. Ooh, that was good. That was good.
My title, our titles aren't what makes us a leader. My action is. And I think that's the biggest thing I try to tell my young ladies all the time. It's not because head coach is behind my name that you respect me. I want you to respect me because you see the values and the way that I walk.
Come on, Chelsea.
I want you to see that I get it. When we're down by 20 and you sit down and you don't want to cheer, you still see me standing. And as one of my assistant coaches say, even in the pumps, right?
Even in the pumps.
Still see me standing because I'm never going to bow my head even in adversity. It's not the loss that makes me upset. This is the same thing I tell them. It's not the loss that should make you upset. It is how we are losing. If you don't keep fighting, that's a problem for me. Because that problem, we're not fighting in the game, turns into now when my bills are due and I don't know where the money's coming from.
Come on.
I'm not going to call on Jesus. I'm not going to try to find a way. I'm just going to break down. That's a problem for me. When I walk into a room with 20 people and I know it's only one position that they're hiring for, I'm not going to walk back out the door, but the way that you're playing shows me that you will. That is why I take that personally. And these are the conversations that I have with these young people. It's not our fault, these challenges that happen in our lifetime, but it is our fault if we stay there.
That's right.
It's not our fault if life knocks us down, but it is our fault if we stay there.
That's right.
And those are the conversations that we have. And so sometimes it's not easily taken over if your mindset and definition of win is a bit different from mine. But I will not, and I'll say it again, I will not sacrifice the player and lose the person.
It
gives me great joy to say that we have 100% graduation rate. It gives me great joy to say that of the 21 players on our roster, we still carry a 3.0 and above GPA every single year. Those are the young ladies inducted into NHS, National Honor Society, the ones that are the biggest thing, Miss Juanita, that gives me great pleasure is that I don't make you go to church. It is an option. But when you give your life to Christ based off what you watch me walk,
come on
not
now,
because I forced you to do so. So even in 0-7 moments, even though we've gotten one under our belt and we got one tonight that we're going to go get, even in those moments, even if we didn't win on the win column, I promise you one thing, the heaven rejoices and we won because a soul was accepted. Because their lives are going to be changed, because they're in college now doing well, because I'm getting college invitations to come to graduation. And when we can do that globally as coaches and leaders to understand win over across the board.
That's right.
Yes, we all want to win the game. But at what cost? I've seen teams go and win state championships. And when I see all the players on the roster and I ask you what you're doing, you try to dodge me in the store because you're embarrassed about where you are. I will not let that happen, Miss Juanita, because this is a purpose position.
You said it. This is a purpose position. This is a purpose position. Don't lose your purpose. Don't lose your opportunity in this moment. Don't lose your opportunity. And when we come back after the break, we're going to talk about that, not losing your moment. Today's show is sponsored by earthblendcoffee.global. To order, click on the link in the description box below. It is just that good. We'll be right back after the break.
COVID's pioneering coronavirus protocol firm, S1-E COVID Solutions, is paving the way forward for a safer city government, delivering cutting-edge biosecurity and biosafety protocols which have been developed internationally by top virologists and scientists, using an all-natural cleaning solution that kills COVID-19 on contact like no other product on the international market. Let S1-E COVID Solutions provide innovative, rapid facilities testing and world-class, state-of-the-art bio-risk safety protocols for all of your coronavirus needs. Advertise on WeBelieve.global, a brand new digital media platform. Share your brand with our audience on our many global live stream TV broadcasts and over the radio. For more info, visit WeBelieve.global or call 800-492-5186, option 1.
Hey, welcome back. Welcome back to Never Stop Believing. I am super excited that you are here. And we are talking with Coach Chelsea of Servant Leader. And I'm telling you, it has been fiery thus far. I am super excited about the leadership. I am super excited about the atmosphere of Never Stop Believing, the spirit of Never Stop Believing, because she could have been knocked down. She could have been taken out. Matter of fact, she could be a memory today, but God saw fit for her to be here today, telling her story, not just telling her story to enlighten you all, but telling the story so that somebody else can be edified from this, so that somebody else can be empowered, so that somebody else can understand that just because you may have something that's standing in the way right now doesn't mean that that has to be the end. It's all about your belief. It's all about your faith. It's all about having that never stop believing approach. It's all about continuously moving in the right direction. And it's more so about how open and transparent you want to be into helping somebody else become the best that they are. We have a job to do. Our job is not just to edify us, but our job is to enlighten and enlarge the territories of someone else. It's to make somebody else see that there's something greater on the inside of them. It's to make somebody see that they have purpose on the inside of them. It's to help you understand that who you are is not who you are going to be. Who you are right now does not define who you are going to be. It is a setup for a greater come up. So hold your horses and get ready. And as we were talking before the break, you have to be the best version of who you are. You have to be the best version of who God has created you to be. And Chelsea, you took us there. You went there. You went there because you were saying that it's not what's going to happen. It's what should happen. It's not that in this moment of our games, the 0-7 or the 7-0, it's not just you just saying, you know what, I want to win the game because it's good for the media, it's good for our record to win the game. But you were talking about it's great for life. You were talking about how to move these young ladies, these young men into who they're going to be in life, who they are going to be in this society. It's not just winning the game that is a good thing, right? Because what if you lose the game and still do good? You were trying to get them to understand the game of life, the overall perspective. And that's what we have to do right now today. Understand that it's not because you get so many wins and so many blessings that you can say, oh my God, this is the awesome thing. It's not about just the blessings. It's not about just the favor. It's about the life lessons that you learn along the way. It's about how you're going to grow from someone else's opportunity. How are you going to grow? We read so many different books. And in the books, we find so much information that can help catapult us into the next. Chelsea, let's talk a little bit now about how you are allowing them to understand that they are servant leaders, even in their midst of not being a servant, that they feel they're not a servant. Let me add that in there. They feel that they're not a servant. You are helping them to understand that they are, not just from the wins that continuously allows them to believe that they are, but it's also in the losses that get them to understand who they are. Let's talk a little bit about that.
For sure. You know, we have every year the Lord gives me a theme for the season. And one of the ones that have always stuck is all 32. Okay. So in Florida high school basketball, there's 8 minutes a quarter times 4. That's 32. And so just like you said, trying to get them to understand how this game translates to life, that everybody knows that basketball has ebbs and flows, right? One team's going to go on a run, right? That's in our life, the things that are going well in our lives. And the next minute, we may lose momentum. Those are the moments we have those valley moments in our lives. And so one of the things I need them to understand is that in those valley moments, what do we do to recover? When a team goes on a run, how do we stop that, right? But one of the things that I do know is that if we don't play the game all 32 minutes, we're not going to get the win. And that's even if we're ahead and the scoreboard says we win, we're not winning by definition if we don't go all 32 minutes.
That's right.
And so one of the things I need them to understand in that is that we do more with these hands. They know, I tell them all the time, our hands do more than make baskets. They're meant to serve. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing that we actually talk about this evening is one of my favorite games of the season. We have our theme games each year. We honor our armed forces. We show adversity to United Way and all different things. But we have thank you. We do our breast cancer awareness game, which is actually tonight. And I love it. We honor the true and real survivors and fighters. Because one of the things I want them to see is that community service, acts of service, that's what God called us to be. Right? The greatest of these are those that serve. If you want to be great, you want to be the leader, you want to be that person in power, you must first serve. That's a word. I didn't say it. That's what Christ tells me. And not only did he say it, he demonstrated it. We all know how much power this man beholded. We all know that he wasn't even in the midst of company that was all for him. Come on now, if we're being honest. But still, even then, he washed the disciples' feet. Yes. And so that is the thing I want them to understand is that it's not always about you. It's not about your cell phone. It's not about the Jordans. It's about other people. And one of the things that these theme games begin to do is it starts to show them the real value of life. When they watch these breast cancer survivors come back, and when they watch them fight, it was just a fight for you to walk through that double door and walk on the court with us. It gives them a greater sense of pride. Watching them, Miss Juanita, pick up their bags, watching them escort them on the court, you start to see the compassion in them. Right. And one of the things I reiterate to them, that, Coach, why do we do this? And it's a genuine question, not that they don't want to. And I said, because this is what we were on earth and meant to do. That's right. We were meant to serve and be better for other people. We were meant to show compassion for other people. And these are the things I want you to see. When you're going to read at elementary schools, those are the things that Christ honors. Those are the things that Christ honors. And so in that's what I tell people, even though we lose and it could be easy to just say, you know what, I wash my hands of this. Those are the things that when they graduate, you have many of them still working with Habitat for Humanity. Hey, coach, I'm down in Miami now, but I loved it so much. I'm still doing it. And a part of that, when we talk about it, I want to be the captain. I want to be the leader. Okay, get the bag, get the ball back.
Come on now.
No, that's the freshman's job, is it? No.
There we go. They go to labels, right?
We're serving. Right. We're serving. When it's team meal, let the freshmen go first. And you know what actually fixed their play? Coach, why am I fixing their play? I'm the upperclassman. Because the greatest of these must serve. And when we begin to put those principles and practice in them, their whole walk begins to change. Yes. Their mindset begins to change. They start to speak and walk differently. And the thing that's the best, they have more pride in themselves. They have more. That's what I'm finding. Their pride in their thoughts about who they are. Their confidence begins to go up because they have a sense of now who I am, because they know who they belong to. And that's the biggest thing. When they walk in, some of them do, it's not all of them, but when you know who you belong to, when you know that Christ is your Father, is your Abba Father, you begin to understand and walk differently. That's right. And we try to instill that on our young ladies, and it has made a world of a difference, world of a difference.
That's right. See, you spoke about priority. You spoke about putting your priorities into perspective. And at such a young age, we have to know how to put our priorities into perspective, because our priorities help us to understand value and morals and understand life from a different perspective. Sometimes we can see things the way that it's always been. And I've heard this said before by a good wisdom person, Tina. She says this: in order to change the result of something, you have to change the trajectory, because doing something the same way over and over and over keeps you in the same cycle. You don't want to stay in the same cycle, because when you stay in that same cycle, you do it over and over and over again, and nothing is ever getting clean. Nothing is ever coming in. There's nothing going out. And you're teaching about prioritizing right now at a young age. And that's what we're trying to get our viewers to understand. That when you prioritize your life, when you set your life up to be successful, yes, you may have gone through some things. Yes, you may be in the middle of something right now, or you may even be coming out of a storm right now. Never stop believing. It's never too late to prioritize.
I just want to input this right here, and you said it best. So those that are listening, I think this is a great portion, and the Lord is moving me to say this. Yes. It is one of my favorite scriptures that's in the Word, because it reminds us that where you are is not permanent. In Corinthians, it speaks about we fix our eyes not on what's seen, but what is unseen, because the seen is temporary, but the unseen is eternal. And a lot of times, leader or not, what our problems are, followers of Christ, is we fix our eyes on the current state of being, on the current moment in that cycle that you're talking about. It's so funny. We travel out of town to this away game all the time, and it's this roundabout. I'm telling you right now, I've driven for years, but this roundabout trips me up. All right, y'all don't talk about it, but this roundabout trips me up every time, right? And I'll miss it, and I have to keep going around, to the point now with some of my coaching staff that's been with me for a while, they laugh like, here we go. But you said it best. When you stay in that cycle and you don't leave from that cycle, you're going to continuously just stay in that pattern. That's what a circle does. But one of the things Jonathan McReynolds says at best, he says, the devil learns from your mistakes, even if you don't.
Come on.
The devil learns from your mistakes, even if you don't. And so one of the things that I love and I learn about that scripture is that your current state is not your final place. But if we keep fixing our eyes on what we see, if we keep fixing our eyes on the pain, if we keep fixing our eyes on our current state of how we feel, we can't catapult ourselves to our next. So my thing is trying to get them to see beyond.
Get out of that mind frame. Come on.
You got to. God has promised it. He said the unseen is eternal. I want what I'm blind to then. Okay? Come on now. Don't me. I want that. I want what I can't see. And when we can do that, when you fix your eyes on what's unseen, I'm telling you right now, those are the things Christ wants us to understand.
That's right.
And those are the things, regardless of coach, educator, whatever the case may be. It was that unseen, going back to my testimony, it was that unseen that helped me understand in that room when the doctors didn't know, I was already on top.
Already knew
that God had done his thing, because I believed in the unseen. I wasn't stuck in my current state. I wasn't stuck in the migraines. I wasn't stuck on the medicine. I wanted the unseen, and that unseen showed up. And so if we can keep doing that and we fix our eyes on what is unseen, as he says in the word, he already told us in John 16, take heart. I have overcome the world.
Come
So
on.
if he's overcome the world, that means he's encompassing everything that's in it. He's overcome the world, so we don't have to be pinned back and down and heavy laden on things that we think we can overcome. He's overcome the world, so overcoming something small, no brainer.
Come on,
no
now.
brainer.
Come on. So in order to overcome what is small, we have to be able to believe in what we cannot see. We have to be able to believe that there's something out there greater than what we see right now. So if you continue to do the same thing over and over and over, you never change. And most importantly, I want to add this here. There is no order. And the word tells us this. Order, you got to have order. Order relates to obedience. Obedience is better than sacrifice. So why stay in the same mode, in the same situation, in the same rut, trying to dig your way out? We don't need to claw our way out. We need to believe our way out. We need to see our way out. See, in order to believe that there's something out there greater, you got to believe it on the inside first. It doesn't show up on the outside until your brain starts to be transformed. Not conform, but transform. So you have to transform by the renewing of your mind, which means you got to think something different in order to get out of that generational cycle. You got to see something different. I like what you said. You said that even though you may not change, the enemy is still figuring out your strategies. Even though you may not get the understanding of it, the enemy still figured out your strategies. And the enemy still figured it out, right?
Scout report on us, Miss Juanita. The enemy has a scout report on us. Come on now. You know.
I love
you play and coach, so you know. You like the opponent, you do your scout report. The enemy has a scout report us. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to win the game.
That's right. And here's what I'm saying, right? When we know whose team we're on, we understand that there is a plan. You got to know which plan. The plan is right. The plan is already predestined for your life. The plan has already been strategized. So why not take the proper steps to change the trajectory of your life? Why not take the proper steps to believe in something that you cannot see? Why not take the proper steps to believe in a little bit of faith of a mustard seed that can prioritize your life, that can move you into new heights, that can take you into new levels, that can take you over to places that you've never been before? Yes, it may be scary to reach, but doggone it, reach anyway. It may feel weird to get outside of your comfort zone, but break outside of the mold. You're not creating this opportunity. God created this opportunity. You just happen to wake up this day to never stop believing. You just happen to wake up in this moment to never stop believing. And if we stay in that same cycle, you continue to keep rolling. As you mentioned earlier, why go around when you can actually go through? Go through it in order to get over it. Don't let the enemy strategize better than you can think. Oh, man.
Come on now.
Don't let the enemy out-strategize you. Listen, when we come back after the break, I'm telling you, we're going to continue to keep talking about this because this is something that we need to hit. Listen, today's show is sponsored by earthblendcoffee.global. To order, click on the link in the description box below. It is just that good. We'll be right back after the break.
Advertise on WeBelieve.global, a brand new digital media platform. Share your brand with our audience on our many global live stream TV broadcasts and over the radio. For more info, visit WeBelieve.global or call 800-492-5186, option 1.
Your plans are not just your plans. Your plans have already been performed for you. Your plans have already been strategized. Your plans have already been put into perspective. Because I know this man. I mean, he's a big guy. The big guy. Yes, I'm talking about God. The big G-O-D, not the little G-O-D. Sometimes we start to idolize the little G-O-D. That means we idolize the job that we are. We idolize the position that we have. We idolize the people that are around us, and we believe more into that position or the people than we do in the big G-O-D. And the big G-O-D has great plans for you. So what are we strategizing today? What are we trying to get out of? What are we trying to become that we have not already become? See, there is a moment in life where we hit this becoming. It's like this metamorphosis. We have to transform, and we have to transform to become where we are. We have to transform to become something greater, something bigger. A tree that is planted into the ground starts off as a seed, and it has to go through a dying process in order to uproot to its full potential. What layers have you broken off? What layers have you torn off your mind? In order to be renewed, you have to not conform to the world, but you got to be transformed. And we're talking with Chelsea of Servant Leader. And I'm telling you, the program is absolutely phenomenal. Chelsea, the program that you are doing, I'm telling you, listen, when God gives us a plan, just run with it, right? Don't even try to figure it out, because he's already put it into work. We just happen to get into that appointed time, right? That appointed day. Right. And it couldn't have been any better. It couldn't have been the most amazing opportunity, the most amazing time that God gave you this idea, and he gave it to you during a pandemic. Let's talk a little bit. Number one, I want to talk about how this all came about, and then I want to talk about Servant Leader.
For sure. So it's amazing. You just said it. When he gives you something, you got to run with it. And I said a 4 flat. I mean, you don't tarry, don't you stall, don't question, take it. I always tell people I'm just running errands for the Lord. That's it. Whatever, I'm his errand runner, whatever he asks. And it was amazing in the pandemic. As coaches and educators, we know full well how disheartening it was and how many question marks we have for ourselves that this new thing was here. We had never been in this position before. That's right. In this lifetime. To be able to now know we still have these players, these athletes, these students, these employees that we still need to lead in a time where we don't understand how to navigate. So how can we navigate those that follow us? And so I often study my word on so many different parts of my life. And one of the things that I really hadn't brushed up on or never did was a devotion that was dedicated to just coaching. And so I started one, and I used to say something said, but my aunt said, don't do that. When, that still small voice speaks to you, that's God. And so Christ spoke to me and said, ask other coaches, would they be open to doing it with you? So I'm on Twitter and social media. And so I shared the plan, and I said, I'm doing this plan. Who would like to join me? Miss Juanita, in a couple of hours, 50 coaches had joined the plan.
Come on now, Jubilee.
And we talked to each other. We read it. So at the end of every plan if you use the Bible app, there's a place that has talk it over, right? And it was amazing because we're just sitting there and we're reading each other's comments. And finally, my brother Ty Garth, at the time, he was at Fisk University. Amazing brother. He's like, hey, can we kind of get on and see each other's face and dialogue about this? So I was like, sure. So we hopped on a Zoom. And of course, the pandemic brought so many Zooms, but this thing was amazing. And, once the plan was up, it was 7 days. Everyone said, I don't know how you're going to do this. It was my brother, Willie Simmons, down here at FAMU, head football coach. He said, I don't know how you're going to do this, but you're going to keep this thing going. So I said, okay. So I said, all right, Lord, you created this. I said, as long as you keep giving the provision, I'm going to keep walking in your grace. I kept asking coaches, athletic professionals, all these people, athletic directors, pro sports, all these people. Miss Juanita, I've only gotten one no in this whole time. We've been doing this since April of 2020. I've only gotten one no in that time, and that was just simply a scheduling conflict.
Sure.
So basically we went and we changed this thing, servant leader, just learning how to lead like Christ, to normalize coaches of faith is the tagline. We want, when people receive a word, what's the first thing they say? First, give an honor to God, right?
That's right.
And so we can do that. That can't be where the sentence ends. We have to allow him to infiltrate all parts of our world. But what greater world than the sports world? I don't care, in all beliefs, many different races, colors, creeds, belief systems, they all watch football, right?
That's right.
Many different faiths, sports, belief systems. They believe in the Cowboys, and unfortunately, sorry, Cowboys fans, I watched that game, right? But of Cowboys, let's sit there. You watch even in that stadium, I can assure you there's people that believe different guys. They believe different things. They're men, women, all different races. So what better place for Christ to show up in a place where everyone loves sports? And so we started doing this thing. We've had amazing people on. I've been able to meet some amazing people. Miss Cheryl Swoops, Hall of Famer, Coach Wade of the Chicago Sky has come on. We even had Coach John Mosley from Netflix, Last Chance Youth Basketball, come on. But the most amazing portion is we're taking these people that in life we have a way of putting them up here when they reach a certain level. And these individuals come on and they all share the same thing. Christ put me here.
That's right.
It's not about my position. It's about who positioned me there.
Come on now.
Changed. people who have accepted Christ, people that drifted in a time that was unknowing, where people stopped believing. We talk about never stop believing. People stopped believing. People stopped understanding. People didn't know why Christ would do this. That was some of the things that we heard.
Sure.
And in a year and a half's time, we have people that have given testimonies of, I wanted to stop believing. I gave up. I lost my job. I didn't even want to believe Christ no more. I was angry at Christ. But I tapped into the Servant Leader Coaches Bible study. And do you know what? It saved me. We take a look at Baylor men's basketball and what they've done, taking an action of joy to become the forefront of their basketball program. And look at them, allowing us to recognize and see Christ at the center of our programs, and see these coaches and athletic professionals say that Christ is, and I'm going to learn to lead like Christ, not as coach, not athletic director, as servant leader. And has changed things. From University of Georgia, from WNBA to NBA to NFL, it has changed things. And that's because Christ is the center.
And there you have it. Being in order with Christ and making him the center of your life changes the whole thing. Changes everything around you. Changes the way you think. It changes the way you act. It changes people around you.
That's it.
When Christ is at the center, you don't act a certain way. When Christ is at the center, you take your position a little bit different. People can tell, like, come on, Chels, right? Come on, Chels. Like, people can tell if you rolling with Jesus or not. Like, they can tell by your actions and the way that you say things and the way that you do, how you roll. They can tell if you're rolling with them. They can tell if you humble. But to have the top of the top to say, I am so grateful for this opportunity, because I know that this opportunity can be taken away at any moment.
Come on,
I'm not set in stone here, because I don't control my future. God controls my future. I don't control the things that I say when I'm speaking for Christ. God controls those things, because I am just an open vessel, a willing vessel that would say, listen, just because I'm the head of the head, sit down so that I can wash your feet. Sit down so that I can show you what it means to be humble. Sit down so that I can show you what a real leader is like. Sit down, because it's my humility that makes me the leader that I am. It's not the fact that I have taken my position and made my position my guide. It's the fact that I have taken my position and understood that my position is the gift. And the gift has made room for me to be the servant that I am today. Just because I have humbled myself, knowing that this position can be taken away at any given time. Nobody is locked in. The only thing that's locked and set in stone is the word. The word is the same yesterday, today, and forever, and it will not change, because it says what it says. As I know Chief says it like this, hashtag, I said what I said. That's what I feel like the word is saying. I said what I said. And believe this, I'm going to do just what the word says to do. You know, I've known it like this, Chelsea. Touch not my anointing and do my prophet no harm.
Come on.
When people know what they are doing, they have an understanding that the Jesus lives on the inside of them. They realize that this God didn't cause this pandemic. He may have allowed it, but he didn't cause it.
Come on.
But what did you learn in the process of your waiting? What did you learn in the process of your be still? I know you had some peace. At first, it was probably chaotic. I'm telling you, it was probably chaotic. And so many questions was going on. Why this? Why that? When this? When that? How did I lose this? How did I lose that? Why did I lose this? Why did I lose that? Well, when we stop asking why and we start saying thank you. Thank you, Lord God. Thank you for me not finishing out that job. Thank you for changing the trajectory of that. Thank you for getting me away from that. Thank you for humbling me. Thank you for allowing me to be grateful, because the pandemic taught me something. It taught me how to humble myself. The pandemic put me in a situation that I never thought that I could be in before.
That's right.
See, do we take that time to really define ourselves, or do we take that time to say, why? It's not about why, it's about when. When you come to the realization of knowing that God controls everything. Everything. So we have to believe that God controls everything. And Chelsea, you met some of the top people. You met some of the top people to share that it's not just about you, it's about the sinner.
And I think that includes you. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like when When you recognize that Christ is at the center, like we're saying, when you recognize that Christ placed you there and allow him to exalt you, you didn't exalt yourself.
That's right.
It's amazing. Christ gives us that platform because he knows who needs to see it. It's amazing. One of the things I tell people, I tell my young ladies this, they love to follow different people. I said, well, watch who you're following though. Because you need to be following Christ. Okay? If you follow Christ, he'll lead you to who you need to be paying attention to, because they're going to be speaking what he has them to say. Dawn Staley, and I love this, everybody knows, she has an amazing platform and she uses it wisely. But one of the things I love, and I tell my young ladies to pay attention to every game day, she does her game day meal plan.
Right.
And
that's right.
Look at the program devotional.
That's it.
Always going to be a devotional on there, whether it's scripture, whether it's coming from one of the most, powerful quotes that exist out there. And I said, pay attention to that. That's somebody that is using their platform in the right direction. That is somebody that is showing. I'll never forget, she won, and I forget what game that was. And she said, all the honor and glory to God. That's just God. That's not me. And it wasn't about ESPN. It wasn't about the national, team that was up there. It was about giving God the glory and everything. And that's when he continues to exalt us. And to watch all these people, Joni Taylor, after she had just played, to the first African-American women to play head-to-head in the SEC championship. I called her and I said, hey, if you need to reschedule, we can do that. She said, oh, absolutely not. She came on the very next day, and all of us are excited, of course, having a little fandom. And she's like, no, y'all, that's God. That's not me. I appreciate it, but that's not me. That is all of God. And to watch, we are now at 160 something episodes on the podcast and the live shows. And to watch these individuals come on and take this hat off that we put on them. Because I want you to understand something. We exalt people. And then get mad when they let us down. I think that's a key piece that we forget. We exalt these people of the flesh and then get mad when they let us down, or when they do something, the media says, newsflash, such and such was found this way.
And I can tell you this, Chels. You made a great point. I got to have you back on the show. I got to get you back on the show. We got to do this again, because this is awesome, right? Chelsea, thank you so much for all that you have done. You are an awesome servant leader. You are an awesome, awesome person. Listen, don't ever stop believing. You've never stopped believing, and I absolutely adore you and love you. Listen, today's show was sponsored by earthblendcoffee.global. To order, click on the link in the description box. It is just that good. Thank you so much, Chelsea. You've been watching Never Stop Believing. I'm your host, Juanita Ward. This is Jay Ward, the encourager. Never stop believing. I'm telling you, you have to believe it. It's inside of you. It's what you feel. It's what you think. It's what you do. If you can believe it, you can achieve it. Just keep going. Press your way through. Can you believe in what you can't see? There's so much more that's going on inside of you. And the seed that's inside of you, you have to water it. Don't you believe? If you can pray and you can believe, I assure you, you'll never stop believing.
Do you have something to say? Do you want your voice heard? Join the We Believe Global lineup. Be the star of your own show. For more info, call 800-492-5186, option number